Some Johannesburg residents have planned to protest today over the prolonged water shortages. Rand Water has completed work on the Nqobile pump station, but the system has been slow to recover. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala joins me live from Emmarentia. Nqobile, good to speak to you this afternoon. Obviously, many disgruntled residents. Speak to us about what's happening on the ground.
Well, yes, Hugo. I mean, you will remember that yesterday when we had that briefing, the City of Johannesburg did say that Nqobile is now pumping at 83%, but also did mention that there's some areas that were still lagging behind, one of them being the Emmarentia area where I am. But the idea was that there was going to be some water that was going to be diverted this side, especially from the Randburg, to be able to get more water for the residents this side. However, it's been 9 days without water for the residents of Emmarentia. So now you can just imagine how their experience has been like. And I'm going to start with you, Vaughan. If you could just explain to us, have you at least had any communication that tells you why you haven't had water for so long?
We've had very little information that we can actually rely on. So the information we've got to date has been either out of date or contradictory. And if we want real information, they often take ages to give it to us, and you can't really see what's happening. So, like the reservoirs levels, they can't give us the reservoir levels, they can't give us the inflow rates. Then on Sunday, they mentioned the inflow rate was only 4 litres a second to service the better part of 10,000 residents. Now, 4 litres a second is like 40 people taking a shower. What do the rest of the 9,960 people do, in that same time? And that's just to do a basic service of the water. So the information has been really poor, and unfortunately a lot of it's contradictory, and unfortunately residents don't trust what information they're getting at this point.
And I know that at this point residents are even trying to sponsor some water. What's been happening?
Yes. So residents, the way the communities have come together, that's been a really inspiring piece. They put up Jojo cans. We've had residents pay for tankers to come through. There's residents that have given water for free boreholes across the wider area, not just Emmarentia, but throughout the area, providing borehole access to people to be able to do some basic water, services. So that, the residents have really come together. We just need the city to do their job.
And whilst we talk about the city, how has home been like without water for so long?
It has been a challenge, yes. 9 days counting now and no water. To just do the basic things like wash dishes, have a shower, do those things is almost impossible. So that's been very challenging. We're using water very sparingly. I suppose it's been practicing for day zero, that might come around. We'll have to see. But we don't want that to come around. We need the city to do their job, but so it's been a real challenge. But we're marching on, but it's just not acceptable situation to be in.
And I want to bring in Noreen to speak to us. Noreen, you also have been here for quite a long time. You're telling me for 12 years you've been in the area, and this is the first time you've seen it this bad.
Yes, definitely. We have had outages before, and another thing we suffer with in this area specifically is being throttled every night. So they've been closing up the Hurst Hill 2 every single night, and we only get water again at 6 or 7, but at least then you can plan for it and you get some relief. But 9 days with not a drop of water is very, very difficult to manage. And like Vaughan was said, just doing basic hygiene tasks. It's school holidays, we have kids at home. It's just been impossible.
And I understand that you're going to be writing a memorandum at this point?
Yes, so we've got a 2 or 3 pronged approach. The first thing is the residents are angry and they are frustrated and tired. We've been logging emails, contacting people, flooding inboxes to no avail. In fact, there was a press conference earlier today at 1 o'clock that didn't even make mention of our area as having an issue. So we are frustrated with getting no response. So the first thing is to just let people come out and share their issues and let their voices be heard. So we've actually got a protest here on the corner starting in a bit. And then we actually want to do something constructive, so we will be doing a memorandum of what we want, and the main part is just transparency. So we understand and support maintenance, but we need to know when is the water coming back, get clear messaging from Joburg Water, and we also need to see what the real issues are. So we actually are demanding that we get a walkthrough of what the actual water facilities and sort of get an independent view on what the issues are. We've been fed since September last year, different stories, always on and off, having issues non-stop with no real answers or solutions.
And now as residents, as you come together at this, what do you hope will happen out of this?
Well, firstly, we hope that Joburg Water actually engages with us and we get some senior representatives to actually come and talk to us. I mean, just making our voices heard and having a sounding on that is number one, because we haven't managed to engage with anyone, not the mayor. Nobody has actually come and engaged. So that's step one. And then secondly, like we said, we'd like to share a memorandum, have some sort of visibility and transparency, and then engage with Joburg Water and the different parties to actually understand what is going on, and then sort of make a plan around it. And when they do say they will recover X%, they should actually go through with that. And if there is issues, what are the issues? We deserve to know as residents. We pay the same rates, the same fees as everybody else.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, Hugo, frustration from the residents, as you can hear there. They're saying they deserve to know, and they deserve to know because they also pay for these services. They are expecting to start that protest right behind me at the corner there. This is where their meeting point is going to be, and this of course will speak to the issues that they are worried about. This is mainly the water issue, which as you can tell there, it's been something that's been growing over time, because some of them, they're saying that it's been happening for over time where they have been throttled at night, and now it's just no water at all.
Nqobile, I suppose the important question to ask is, will their pleas fall on deaf ears, or on any ears for that matter? And that's because we're still awaiting for members of that executive council in Gauteng to be announced. Who's likely to take responsibility for all the complaints, or certainly the amount of work or expectations that is required from the residents of Emmarentia and elsewhere?
Well, yes, Hugo. I mean, with all that's happening currently in Gauteng, we saw what happened yesterday with regards to the Premier announcing the people that are supposed to be responsible. There's also questions around that in terms of who should be taking those questions. There's a lot of issues that have been highlighted. Not so long ago, Hugo, there was an issue with regards to settlements, human settlements, which was in the south as well. And some of those activists were also highlighting the issues that they have nobody to go to at this point, which also speaks to the fact that it's very important to have stability within the city, because at least there is a person that can take accountability. So that becoming a very major issue for a lot of residents, but also something that needs to, I suppose, happen much quicker. But you know what, Hugo, whilst we're speaking about that, I want to bring in Von to speak to us about that, because he was talking about accountability. Von, we know that in the city at the moment there's also the issues around the Premier having had already told us who the MECs will be, or what is currently happening between the coalition. Do you think that there's going to be any responsibility that's going to be taken for what has happened?
It doesn't seem so. I mean, in the experience we've had since these water shedding issues started in September last year, we've had so little accountability and transparency. So I don't believe there's going to be immediate solution to this. I mean, most residents really don't care who their politician is, as long as the politician is honest, got integrity, the competence to do their job, and given the resources to execute. So we need that from the city, and especially the executive team that leads the city. But I think at the moment we don't believe that we don't have much faith based on the 9 months that we've had of almost this daily experience of water shedding.
Thank you very much, Von. Well, Hugo, that's Von speaking to us, and of course Noreen also was speaking to us about those issues that they've highlighted as residents of Emmarentia. But responsibility, yes, and accountability is something that they want. But like you hear from Von, there is little faith in terms of there is somebody that can stand for that.
Nqobile Madlala, appreciate your time coming to us from Emmarentia.